Really important that we take a moment and give thanks and show appreciation for all the hard work that our partners around the world did to make 2023 so successful. And of course, this year has gotten off to an amazing start. So really just want to say thank you to all of our brand partners around the world.
That's amazing, and I'll join you in that gratitude as well. It's such an amazing combination when you have, such incredible people who are doing such big things, and then you also have it's such a unique product that is effective and does what it says it does, and the combination of those two have really led to magic. I mean, it's been an incredible year, and looking forward to big things this year as well. So, of course, a lot of that was led by the sale of our hero product X39, David. And along with X39, when you talk about the 20 years, there's a really neat connection for me today on this Lifewave Connect, because the first product that Lifewave came out with was Energy Enhancer. That was kind of the beginning of it. And then X39 has really been now the hero product that's helped to get us where we are. And today we have the privilege of being able to talk about both of those together.
Right, absolutely. So let's go ahead and get started.
Yep.
Okay, actually, before I share screen, I think the first thing to set the pace of this webinar today is we're going to take a little bit of a trip down memory lane, and we're going to be talking about going way back into the beginning of Lifewave with Energy Enhancer, and why all of that early research and everything that was learned about Energy Enhancer still applies today. And it's very important to understand this information relative to X39 and how people can get the best benefits out of both of these products, and why you would want to use both of these products together. Still, after more than 20 years now, I still use Energy Enhancer daily, and there's some good reasons for it. So let's get into it. Now, one of the places that I wanted to start today was to talk about Coach Richard Quick. At the beginning of Lifewave, so I started the company in 2002, and we went to market in November of 2004. And that's why this is coming up on our 20th anniversary. So I was privileged to meet Coach Richard Quick at Stanford University. Richard was an amazing human being. He had actually 13 NCAA Division I championships, and he was a 6-time United States Olympic coach. Really extraordinary achievements in his life. And Richard wanted to stay on the cutting edge, but he also wanted to make sure that everything that he was doing was going to support the health and the well-being of his athletes. So he would never take a chance with their health. And Richard used and introduced the Lifewave patches to his swim team in 2003, 2004. And it was in July of 2004 that he had his Stanford women's swim team using the patches at the Olympic trials in Southern California. And that got national attention in the United States. And that was the early impetus for Lifewave taking off. You can see it wasn't too long after that Richard decided to retire, and he came on board Lifewave as our athletic director and helped promote Lifewave for many years. So first, in looking back, I want to just say an enormous thanks to Richard Quick It was a privilege to know him, and he played such an important role in the beginning of Lifewave. Now, not surprisingly, many athletes around the world began using Lifewave patches, and it was so funny in those early days and so rewarding to see where the patches were going to be showing up. Michael Phelps, he was photographed wearing Lifewave patches. Of course, he never endorsed Lifewave. Phil Pfister, world's strongest man, was after he won the world's strongest man championship, he ripped off his shirt and there were Lifewave patches up on his chest. David Beckham, when he was at Real Madrid, he was at practice, shown photograph wearing Lifewave patches. And by the way, this picture down over here, that was the first time I ever appeared in a newspaper, and I made the front page of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. This was during the Olympic trials in 2004. So why were so many athletes interested in Lifewave? And why were they getting results and sharing it with others? Well, let's take a look at that. We're going to go back now and look at some of the early studies that we did on the energy patches. Now, one of the studies we're going to talk about was performed by Dr. Tom Budzinski and Dr. Helen Budzinski. And Dr. Tom Budzinski was very well known and extremely well respected in the area of biofeedback. And he did this study using a accuscope to measure tissue conductivity. And the results of this study, I'll scroll down here. And by the way, these studies are all in your back office. If you go to resources, you can find these studies. So this study found that indeed Lifewave patches do serve as a stimulus for the actions for which they were developed. Okay, as a photonic communicator for specific frequencies. And what this ends up doing is, as you'll read the study, is it improves the flow of energy through the body. Okay, so this is an important finding because it means that when you wear the energy patches, it'll improve tissue conductivity, which can be applied to pain relief. And it's going to improve the flow of energy through the meridians. So this is going to be important for overall health, and as well as the health of the nervous system. And of course, obviously in athletic performance. So anyone can benefit. Now we're going to skip ahead to the study that was done by Dr. Homer Nazarian, a biomedical engineer at the University of Texas in El Paso. And we've actually done quite a few clinical studies over the years using heart rate variability as a diagnostic technique. And what was interesting here, and by the way, heart rate variability is a measure of the ratio of muscle contractions in the four chambers of the heart. So if there's any irregularities with the heart, that will show up in heart rate variability. So what's interesting here is that the results demonstrate that Lifewave energy patches have significant and clearly distinguishable effects important for HRV. And again, you can read through the study. But this is showing through an entirely different diagnostic technique that when the patches are applied to the body, it has a beneficial effect on the muscle contractions and the health of the heart. This was a separate study, again, done by Dr. Tom Budzinski and Alan Budzinski, but also Dr. Carl Merritt, who is a very well-known medical doctor, biomedical engineer. And in this study it was double-blind, placebo-controlled. And again, conclusion, these results suggested that the energy patches appear to act on the autonomic cardiovascular factors influencing heart rate variability. And some of the conclusions that they reach in this study are extremely interesting in terms of the patch's use for managing stress. So this leads to a question then. How are the patches producing these really diverse effects? As many of you will remember, the patches were originally designed to improve athletic performance, and to do this by increasing fat burning. Of course, we get more energy from burning fat than we do from burning carbohydrates. So we did a study with Dr. Frank Schallenberger. Many of you may recognize his name. He is an expert on alternative cancer therapies, and he is the world expert, one of the world authorities on ozone therapy, which I often recommend. So I had met Dr. Schallenberger at a trade show. I asked him, since he was doing metabolic testing, could we hire him to do a clinical study, which he agreed to do. He didn't think that the patches would work, but application of Lifewave Energy Enhancer patches produced a significant increase in maximum aerobic ATP, maximum ATP from fatty acid metabolism. So Lifewave Energy Enhancer patch has significant metabolic effects, which confirm the manufacturer's claim. So here we have a diagnostic technique that's going to show how the patches work biochemically. And we have these other studies which are showing how the patches work bioelectrically. So these are very valuable pieces of information to help us understand not only how the patches are working, but what the potential of the technology is. So let's go into this now in a little bit more detail. And where we want to start with this is the mitochondria. So the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. It's the engine of the cell. And it's where our body is going to convert fats and carbohydrates over into energy and make the universal molecule of energy, ATP. And here is a look at the mitochondria inside your cells. One thing I might recommend is going to this webpage, because they have a very nice animation of the mitochondria and its function. And you can see here, it's at the National Human Genome Research Institute. But the important thing here is that we're identifying that the patches increase ATP production, and this is done in the mitochondria. Okay, let's understand this down another level. Now, what is ATP? There's first a precursor molecule called ADP, adenosine diphosphate, and then ATP is adenosine triphosphate. We're not going to get too burdened down with biochemistry here, so you don't have to stress about that. What's important to know is that your body basically extracts electrons from the food you eat and uses those electrons to turn ADP into ATP so that ATP can share the electrons with other reactions in the body. So here, ATP is formed through the process of cellular respiration in the mitochondria of the cell. And this can be done through aerobic respiration, which requires oxygen and so forth. So why is this all important? Because if we have a technology that can increase ATP, we have something that can mitigate the effects of aging. As we age, our body decreases its production of ATP. So we can reverse that and we can increase ATP production. Now we have found a way to defeat one of the problems that human beings face in aging. Question is, how are the patches really doing this? Because if we can understand the secret, it opens up an entire universe of possibilities. So let's go down another level and look at this again. So in order to understand this, how does the mitochondria make ATP? How are we converting our food to ATP? And where do the Lifewave patches fit in? Both Energy Enhancer and X39. We want to look at something called the electron transport chain. And again, if you simply want to Google this, you can find any number of different good sources on the internet for this. But you'll come up with a diagram on the electron transport chain, and you'll see that it's broken down into several different stages. And by the time we get to the end, we get ATP. So here we get our ADP converting over to ATP. In the very end of the chain at stage 4 or phase 4, we have this molecule here called cytochrome C oxidase. One thing interesting is that cytochrome C oxidase is a copper compound. Now, of course, we recommend people take a copper supplement to help support their body's levels of GHKCU and AHKCU. We also recommend taking copper supplements because it will act as an antiviral in the body. It's important for suppressing bacterial infections. So, but the cytochrome C oxidase contains copper. So we need copper to support energy production in the body. Very important. Something else that we'll see at the very beginning of the electron transport chain is NADH and NAD. These are niacin compounds. Now, niacin, of course, is a B vitamin. And one of the things we know about niacin is that it's very important for the health of our cardiovascular system. But niacin also participates in the production of energy in the body. And right now, there is many of you know, there's a tremendous amount of research going on the use of NAD for reversing a part of the aging process. So if we can increase production of NAD, we can increase energy in the cell, and this will reverse part of the age of the body. Okay, so what we've learned about this.
I'm going to pause here just for a second, guys. Whoops, sorry. Yana actually did not think I would make it in time to Florida for us to get the Zoom meeting. And then also to our son has been sick with a stomach flu. So she's dealing with that back in Tennessee while I'm down here in Florida. But yeah, I made it in and I knew I would. I figured I'd be here a couple hours earlier. but I knew I would make it regardless. And but at any rate, this thing about the energy enhancer, I did not know. I knew David had did a video specifically on X39 and the energy enhancer. And when I announced this morning on our news broadcast that I was going to talk a little bit about the energy enhancer tonight, that's what I wanted to talk about. Yana had a doctor scheduled to come on, but that'll probably be done next week. So we're just going to spend a little time on the energy enhancer here. And this information is blowing me away. By the way, NAD, that is something I've had done by IV injections before, and it is an amazing memory booster. I know people get it for anti-aging, as David is mentioning there, but I had no clue that the energy enhancer, along with X39, actually increase the NAD production in our body. And so what's really getting me is the fact that what we're finding with the Lifewave products, David has really created a line of products that cause our own bodies to turn on and manufacture the very things in us that we're paying mega bucks to get. Like, for example, NAD. I can tell you now, NAD is something that I've had done by IV before. I think I've done it 3 times in all. And those 3 times I've spent about $1,500 at the different altogether doing that. And to think that the energy patch does that, I'm like, this is like blowing me away. I just thought it gave you energy. I had no idea the complexity of what this patch is doing. So the good thing is we are recording this tonight, and so I'll be able to post this over on our YouTube channel, Balloon X39, to where we can go back and review it again. But I'm going to play a little bit more of David here, and then we'll just talk, just the 3 of us here. Ron, I guess you didn't get my wife's message of cancellations. Funny. So, but yeah, I maybe she emailed everybody, but I didn't want to cancel the meeting because I knew I had announced it on our news broadcast as well. So I wanted to make sure that we still did it. And granted, I really would need her with this doctor that she had coming on. So anyway, I'm going to keep playing David here for a little bit longer here, and then we'll talk a little bit together about this.
Is that our body's going to go through a multi-stage process for making ATP, and part of this depends on cytochrome C oxidase. Why are we focusing in on this one chemical? Well, let's take a look at it. Here is, by the way, a clinical study on mitochondrial copper metabolism and cytochrome C oxidase. And we can skip down here, and we can see the importance of cytochrome C oxidase in the electron transport chain. Okay. I want to skip ahead to, this will give you just another look at it. I'm going to skip ahead to another study, which is getting to the point. And that is that low levels of light have been found to increase production of cytochrome C oxidase, and in turn, increase production of ATP. So there you go. This is the link that holds everything together. The patches stimulate the skin with light. As the patches stimulate the skin with light, they increase production of cytochrome C oxidase. This increases ATP, which is represented as an improvement in overall mitochondrial energy. And this leads to improvements in athletic performance, the flow of energy through the body, better tissue conductivity, better heart rate variability, better flow of energy through the meridians. Now we have completed the story arc. So this is a very good article showing how we can use light to increase the energy in the mitochondria. And Lifewave patches just happen to do it extremely well because we can just apply the patches to the body and we do not need any type of external power source. Okay, so what are some other things that would be important about this? Since we've been going back in time today, let's talk about Dr. Harry Whelan. Very interesting fellow because he came out of the Department of the Navy and then later on he went to work for NASA. Now, many of you may remember that back 20 years ago, phototherapy and light therapy in the public domain was considered to be quackery. Yet, United States government, through DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, was investing millions of dollars in funding Dr. Harry Whelan to look at how light therapy could be used to increase tissue repair. And Dr. Whelan is still doing that research today. So fortunately, this information made it out of the military and made it into the public domain. And now photobiomodulation, phototherapy, light therapy is a well-established science. And we can use this information today to improve our health. So Dr. Whelan's work was very foundational in establishing the credibility of light therapy. Now, another thing that's worth asking is if we can increase ATP production. And we know that a decrease in ATP is associated with aging. So by around the age 50 or so, people start to experience mitochondrial dysfunction, a decline in ATP. And when our energy reserves run low, we can't heal as quickly. We can't make new proteins as quickly. Can't make hormones. We can't recover as quickly after exercise. We get fatigued in the afternoon. All of these things are a result of a decline in ATP. Now, Lifewave has general wellness products, and so we don't make any medical claims. So any of the claims that we're going to talk about now are with active electronic low-level light therapy devices like lamps and lasers. So you can pull up a study like this and you can see how low-level light therapy is being used. Now, I think what I want to do is skip ahead and get right to the punchline because it will grab your attention. This was a surgery-free facelift using low-level light therapy, and you can see it here, 20 minutes a day for 12 weeks. You can go into clinics today and you will see with many dermatologists, medical doctors that perform cosmetic surgeries, they will have very expensive light therapy devices that you put your entire face into, and you have to go there for regular treatments over a period of months, but the results can speak for themselves. Of course, you can do this much less expensively with our Lifewave patches. Of course, we have Alavita and X39 and so forth. And not only that, our products are improving the health of the body from the inside out. But this is simply to demonstrate that light therapy should not be underestimated. It is extraordinarily powerful. So Jeff, this is to give us a,
All right, guys, that is where I wanted to go to. And how you doing, Ron? So the thing is, we saw that where he was showing that image of the lady that had done low light therapy. And though, if you guys have ever seen Shannon and Todd, when they come on, Shannon finally posted her before and after pictures. I mean, I just thought she looked young, period. But it's like night and day difference. And same thing with Mia Finnegan. Nobody ever said anything about her, but I noticed it with her because of when we did the interview with her. I'm like, for some reason, I mean, I'd reviewed interviews with her before. She'd came on, her and her husband, because I knew they were former celebrities. And so I thought, okay, I need to kind of know who I'm talking with, so when I interview her, I'd know more about her. And then, the interview that one of the interviews I saw her in, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months prior to me interviewing her, it's like a totally different person. And I was just like, what's going on here? So that's when I started calling around and asking, because I had no idea that these patches would make somebody look younger. But I think it's prejudice, though, Brother Ron. I think it works for women, not for guys. But at any rate,
What are you talking about, man?
oh, there you go, brother. So, and it probably does work for us as well. I just don't, I haven't seen guys like that, but
I'll tell you what, I can see color coming back in your hair in a lot of places, and I'm starting to get some blonde in my platinum.
That's funny you said that, because I cut my hair this morning before I headed back to Florida, and I had a lot of brown hair falling onto the towel, and I'm like, and at first I'm thinking to myself, nah, I just kind of brushed it off. But that's kind of weird. You're right.
Well, she cut mine the other day and is in here in the kitchen because we have that wood floor, and she cut it, and I was looking down and I said, "What's that?" And she said, "What do you mean?" She said, "There's blonde all over your hair coming in." I thought it was
oh
white
my
platinum.
goodness. So,
Oh.
but I had not watched this video of David talking about the energy enhancer. I mean, I've literally got them on my wrist right now. I'll show you guys. That's the brown one, and then on the other wrist you put the white one. And I didn't. Oh, you wearing it too, Ron? Look at there. So I didn't know that it did all that. And the NAD, oh my goodness. I even got NAD, liposoma NAD in the refrigerator. And in fact, this morning before I left Tennessee, I had it there too. And I took it before I left. I'm always taking it for memory. That's what I do it for, is for memory. So if the energy enhancer is helping to create the NAD in our body, not just the other one that he talked about, I don't have to worry about doing NAD anymore. I'm
not even sure what that is, Steve.
It's that, I forget how they call that. I'll pull up the name real quick on a different thing there, or let me just back it up in his video.
What does it do?
Well, here, NAD, I got the video, let me see. It's a really difficult word to call it, but I always just call it NAD. Is let's see, I'll pull it up on a regular page there. Intravenous. The NAD in high doses, by the way, too, is also used for people that have gotten addicted to drugs. It helps them to come off of those drugs. I'm going to share the screen with you guys because, like I say, you always learn something with David when he's doing these videos. I mean, it's just really kind of very interesting to see that. 6 major benefits of NAD therapy. Imagine you're running a marathon and you're on your last stretch, but you're dying of thirst. If someone handed you a bottle of water, you would drink it, right? your cells constantly run on a 24-hour marathon. They don't get a break just because you do, and they need fuel, certain tools to keep going strong. NAD is one of the most important tools you can give your cells. That's just a place that's doing it. I'm trying to, let's see here real quick. You know, this is a 2-minute video. Let's take a look at this real quick, because that would probably help us to better understand.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa Lilienfeld from Kaplan Center for Integrative Medicine. A few weeks ago, I told you about an exciting new therapy we have implemented at Kaplan Center, and that is NAD infusions. Today, I want to tell you about the benefits and what our patients are saying. Our patients who have received NAD therapy notice that they have better sleep, improved mental clarity, productivity, mood, and they have less pain and fatigue. As a lifelong athlete, I was curious how NAD therapy would help with muscle recovery. I enjoy high-intensity interval training and Olympic powerlifting, but I'm often hindered by delayed onset muscle soreness. After receiving NAD therapy, I noticed there's a definite improvement in endurance, strength, stamina, and muscle recovery.
I didn't know that.
This means better cardiovascular conditioning, an increase in lean muscle mass, and a decreased percentage of total body fat, which all translates to better health. Just to recap, NAD is a naturally occurring coenzyme that's present in every cell in the body, and it's intricately involved in production and maintenance of cellular energy. As we age, or if we suffer from a prolonged illness, NAD levels decline, leading to symptoms such as fatigue, pain, anxiety, and depression, cognitive dysfunction.
I know it works with depression as well,
inability
yes.
to recover from physical activity. Low levels of NAD have been linked to chronic diseases such as cardiovascular disease, diabetes, dementia, and cancer. By replacing NAD, we can improve quality of life and slow down, maybe even reverse aging.
Okay, there you have it right there, you know, and that's the whole thing. I knew people were doing NAD for reversing aging. For me, I wanted it only for the cognitive part of it, and it really does help cognitively. But I've actually gotten pretty much addicted to having to wear these things. And what made me get into wearing them was the fact that I was having a lot of problem with being tired all the time. And I knew that taking caffeine pills I can't do those energy shots because of the way they're made. They cause a lot of muscle spasms. So I started wearing the energy patch to see if that would help. And it's just a real subtle enhancement for your energy. You know, it doesn't make you hyper or nothing. But two, my wife said, hey, it'll burn 500 extra calories a day, and you could use some fat loss on the waistline, boy. But now she's talking about the NAD also as far as for to help with your mood and things and depression. And I didn't know that about NAD, that was part of the function in the body, but to find out that this is what the energy patch does.
So the energy patch, would that help also aid, like, what would you call it? Like the dementia part of that? Would that help them some?
He actually says that in there, in that video. And what I'll do is when I post this on YouTube, I'll post the link to his speech that he made about this, because that just really floored me. I had, you know, and I'd just seen that video had came up because he did it at the first of the year here with X39, the two of those together. But, you know, for me, Ron, and whoever our caller is that's listening in as well, what really struck me in the beginning is that the company had all these other products, and I had no idea about them. But I wanted to find out what they were. So when we did the diamond package, that's when we just ordered everything we could. and that's how we started finding out about it. And of course, most people that are distributors in Lifewave, they're just supposed to focus X39, because it stimulates your copper peptides that makes in turn your stem cells get going in the body. which is also another major factor in our aging process, because if our stem cells aren't working, that's why we get old. That's why our organs get old, everything. So it seems like that everything, Ron, he has developed was basically initially designed to reverse the aging process, but in turn, it's also, we're finding, especially people with dementia, Parkinson's, things like that, they seem to get very rapid help, from their activation of their stem cells. And, but, everything though that he's developed is something that is enhancing or causing our body to create that product that we need, like glutathione. Who would have thought that a patch could reflect somewhat light wavelength in your body that would make your body manufacture glutathione?
When
Yeah.
you first told me about that, well, it's been a while, back in December, when I first started taking that like that, I couldn't believe the things you were telling me that the light would do. And I thought, well, it's not going to hurt anything to try it. So I
Right.
did. But you know how many years I've been following you, and you're looking a lot better, I can tell you, in the last few months. I was noticing that when you were on another video you did the other day. I thought,
Thank
wow,
you.
I need to get better.
I think, Ron, I'll tell you what, now I've been on it longer though myself, because Daniel had sent me the patches early on. So I wasn't consistent in that first 2 months, but I still was using it. So technically for me, I'm going into 5 months now of using this patch. And
Going
I've
into
experienced,
3.
yeah. And these glasses here, they look like the ones that I normally wear, but they are almost 200 points
They're not as thick
less.
as the ones you used to have.
Yeah, they're 200 points less than the other ones. I just got these in. I had to order this pair in. This pair here are my prescription ones, and they're 500 something on the right, 425 on the left with astigmatism in them. I put them on just when I was getting ready to come on. I'm like, whoa, and I had to take them off. I'm like, I can't, everything's blurry with them. And yet they're clear if I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, but
Actually, the more power you got, the closer you have to get to it.
exactly. And used to be, I could put them on, I could sit like I am now and it would be normal.
Yeah.
But that's what made me realize something's going on in my eyes. But when I look at Shannon or Mia or any of those girls that they've had their change, they seem to get it more about 7 months in is when you really begin to notice the difference. And so that's what I think we're going to see more of, is that once we get to that 7-8 month mark, that's when we're going to really start noticing it. And I think guys are going to be no different.
I went to he's an eye surgeon, but I guess he does regular eye exams and all that. I go to him all the time. About once a year, once every 6 months, something like that. And I went the other day, my vision's 2015 now.
Oh my goodness. What was it before then?
Well, it used to be 2040 and it got to 2020, but he said that it's 2015 right now. And he asked me what I was drinking and laughed, and I told him I'm not going to tell him what I was drinking. But anyway, things have improved a lot for me. I mean, my skin, I have to take warfarin because of that clotting issue thing they're talking about.
Right.
And it makes my skin really bruise up easy.
Yep, mine does too.
And my arms were almost completely purple. You remember I told you I had to crawl under the house the other day?
Yeah.
I didn't know it had that little fine chat, and I had blood all over both arms when I crawled out. And it's almost healed up already.
And I remember you telling me that. And
Yeah.
I've noticed the same. Because of the medicine they have me on for my back, I bruise super easily, but as soon as I bruise, it clears it right up.
Mine's clearing up now. Before it'd stay for months,
Same here. I would be bruised for literally, like you said, months.
Yeah.
I'd get a bruise and it'd be a month and a half before it would ever finally go away.
At least.
So, oh my goodness, Ron. Anyway, so this is what's exciting to me is to find out. I just thought the energy enhancer was, oh, it just enhances your energy, and David is talking about, the flow of energy. It helps with the the production of NAD, helps with the, what do you call it? Let me pull that back up so I can just see what he calls that other one there.
While you're looking, I wanted to tell you too, there's something on there about it helps start your muscle mass or rebuilding it. And I was losing so much muscle mass, and now a lot of it's coming back.
That's the X49 that does that.
Well, I
And
take it every day, or I put it on every day too.
yes, and I've the same for me as well, Ron, doing the X49. Now if I lift my little dumbbells and everything, my arms get stronger. And I've got on my shoulder right now, yesterday, or let's see, no, it was actually Thursday. We were taking some counterweights off of one of my front end loaders. These things weigh 3,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And so to break the bolts loose, you got to have a 1-inch socket, not a 1/2 inch, but a 1-inch type with a pipe on that thing about that long. And we were breaking those loose, and so, as you get an idea, as you get older, you go to break something loose, you feel like you tear your muscles. Boy, my left shoulder was in so much pain. I put an Ice Wave and an X49 on it. The pain went, I would say about 65–70% of the pain was relieved immediately. And by the next morning, I had no pain whatsoever. That
Boy, I tell you
X49
what,
just makes you rejuvenate.
yeah, and that Aeon patch, I've noticed, boy, on small areas where it's hurting like that, like
Yes.
I got a muscle cramp in my calf the other night during the night, and I
Yep.
just got up and stuck one on it, and it never bothered me again after that.
Well, that's the same thing because of doing all that pulling. I went to bed was it last night, I guess? And by then, my back muscles were just like screaming in pain. And, Yana wasn't with me at the time. Normally I get hurt. I grabbed one of those Aeon patches because I knew that David said it drops that inflammation. He shows those pictures from the thermography where they can see from infrared lights what your body's doing. And I slapped it as high to the middle of my back as I could possibly get it, rubbed against the wall to make sure it stuck good. And then I would say probably within it, now that one seems to take a little bit longer before it takes effect, but within about an hour, everything calmed down.
Yeah, but it lasts once it takes effect.
Yes. My aunt that has arthritis wears them, and she can get 2 days out of that patch because she'll leave it on for 48 hours.
I know it. I'll tell you what, I put them on my auto order too with the X49 and 39.
That's a smart thing. And the nice thing is you don't have to wear it all the time. Like, let's see, I don't have it on right now. I was gonna say, because Yana will tell me to put it right there in the middle of your chest. That's another good place to wear it. But like you said, it's wherever the problem is.
That's what I do. Yeah.
I had it on my right arm about a week ago from tugging and pulling on stuff, and my elbow was going nuts. So I put the Aeon on there along with X49, took the inflammation down, and the X49 within, that one took a little bit longer because I really did some tearing on that one, but about 2 days later, good as new.
I can't believe just one friend of mine, he said, "You mean you put a Band-Aid on and it helps?" I said, "Absolutely. This is a nice Band-Aid, boy."
I was just talking to somebody this morning about that, and I was saying, because Yana was telling me somebody had called her up and she said, I took a pair of scissors and cut that. That's nothing but a Band-Aid. And my wife's going like, oh my goodness. She said, listen, she said, all right.
He asked me too, we were talking here a while back about my son-in-law before he passed. And she said there was a treatment for COPD vitamin C, what is it, IV or something like that?
That's what my wife said that he needed was IV vitamin C.
Well, a friend of mine, we grew up together, been friends for over 50 years, but he said something about, he sounded bad, like when he, like that. And he said he was having trouble breathing. And I said, have you got COPD? And he said, I think so, but my pulmonologist won't say anything. And he said, I'm having more and more trouble breathing. I told him I'd ask you guys about that again. And
Vitamin C IV.
he agreed to try the patches though. So I left him some X39.
Yes. What, Yana, when I asked her about that with your son-in-law, she told me that he needed 25 grams, which is 25,000 milligrams of vitamin C IV. I think on his case, your son-in-law, she said 3 times a week is what he needed. But with the friend that you've got, he could probably get away with it 2 times a week. And she explained to me what causes that. And she said the vitamin C will kill it. And she even told me, and I know from using that type of C, I mean, Yana had cancer at one point, and we did her with vitamin C IV, but she was doing 75 grams, 75,000 milligrams, twice a
And it got
week.
her over it, right?
Yes, yes.
That's
That's
amazing.
what changed everything for her. And she was really bad off. But yeah, we did that. And so it's really amazing, and the X39, stimulating the stem cells may do it as well. I don't know. I've not looked to see if there's any testimonies on that. But that was one thing that she said would make all the difference if you could just get him on that. In the case of your friend, if he would do it, it would work, And
Well, I'll
even
have
if
to
you
get,
did nothing else but look, in fact, I got it right here on my desk, right? This is liposoma vitamin C packet.
I have some of that.
Okay, well, this one here is because it's liposomal, and this particular brand, the lipospheric one that you can get here, that one there will actually, that's like, my wife said, that's like getting an IV, but of course it's hard to take. I mean, if you did 25,000, there you go. If you did that much vitamin C like this, ooh, you'd be in the bathroom. But but hey, it would work. It would work, I mean,
Would this help him?
yeah, I think so. If he did at least, I would say he could do 5 in the morning, 5 at noon, and 5 at night. That'd at least be 15,000 milligrams, and you'd see the change. There was a guy, the reason we learned this, there was a guy that was dying. He was a pilot, and the hospital would not give him intravenous vitamin C. Finally, when they did, the family saw him and start to improve. But then they sent him home. They wouldn't give it to him no more. They got scared that he's going to get better. Well, they found this product here, and they started giving him this at home. And he had some kind of lung disease, is what it was. He was dying of some kind of lung cancer or something. And only using these packets here, and it totally cured him of whatever it was that he had. It might have been what you're talking about, COPD, maybe have been what he had. I don't remember now.
It seems like that's real prevalent anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, so that would definitely be something that I would encourage him, at least with that. Start with that, if nothing else.
Oh, I sent you a video, come to think of it. And I got a notice a while ago that they did not send it. And I thought I must have put something down wrong.
Anyway, all right, guys. So I guess we'll wrap it up for now so we don't end up making this too long, because we're already coming up on an hour, Ron. But we got to get together. I've got a crazy next couple of days, but maybe Thursday I'll be driving back to Tennessee again. Maybe we can chat while I'm on the road there, and we can kind of get ready for doing this interview together.
Yeah, and if you would send me an address or something, that I can send. Like that video was like, I shortened it down to like 7 or 8 meg or something like that.
Okay.
But I don't know. Can you?
I can do Dropbox if you have Dropbox.
Well, I don't, but I can try
What
to.
about Google Drive? I think you could send it via Google Drive in an email. Just send it to, even send it to Banoon X39 one. That's the easiest for me to see without losing it.
BanoonX39.com.
At gmail.com. At gmail.com.
Is
And put it to my attention though.
okay. Yeah. It's one. Well, I don't know who else is on that, but it was huge. We'll put it like that.
Okay, okay. You know what? I'll put in the comment real quick for you here, my regular email. And then be sure to put on there though, Brother Ron, important, Steve, you need to see this. Stephen at IsraeliNewsLive.org. There it is. Steve N with an N on there as well.
Oh, over here. Okay. I was reading the captioning and it did it wrong. Stephen at, what was it? Israeli News.
At IsraeliNewsLive.org.
Newslive.org. But I got an idea of what you were talking about before, and I think we can set this up and make that work though.
That'll work.
I think it'll work good.
All
I've been
right, my
through
brother. So
several thousand of those and tired of looking at them, but you know.
there you
Oh,
go.
I was going to tell you too, when I got a lot of those like that one